Alright gentlemen, we are about to get into the assault and we are going to talk about our definitive build guide 7.0 for the Thunderhammer. So we're going to talk fencing and we're going to talk blocking and exactly what you're going to be switching up when you're taking the different variations here. And the main thing to note is the Thunderhammer itself, the specs are going to stay the same, but we really are going to change a few class perks, and we will also change a prestige perk when we are going with the different variations here. So I am pairing it with the heavy bolt pistol, but you're going to take whatever secondary really feels best to you. And we will get into everything about the Thunderhammer right here. And we're going to start with our prestige perks for our fencing version. Okay, so this is the fencing version build right here. And we're going to start with our prestige perks down here. And there's really only one that we're really switching out, and it's going to be duelist. And it's because we really don't need duelist with a fencing weapon because it's just very easy to parry with. So we got adrenaline boost for our knockback immunity, we have fortitude for our health increase, we have practice aim for our range damage increase, and then what we're taking instead of duelist is going to be scramble targeting here, and that is when we are surrounded by 5 or more enemies, we will get 20% less range damage. So when we're looking at our core perks, when we're talking our fencing Thunderhammer, we're going with armor reinforcement to grab that extra armor every time we get a gun strike. Secondary weapon increase, you really want your secondary to throw out a lot of damage right here, because it is going to help you overall, because you know your melee weapon isn't quite as strong as what it is with the blocking. And then we have knowledge of the enemy. We're going with our gun strikes here as well for the extra 30% to pair nice with our fencing weapon. Our ground pound for an extra 100%, very important on the fencing weapons. I feel definitely to take the ground pound extra 100% because that's going to let you kill a lot more majors a lot faster with the a little weaker strength there. And then you have maneuverability, we have diligence, and then also we have ample ammunition. Like I said before, I want ample ammunition on this build right here, mostly because I want my secondary to do a ton of damage. So, you know, after a ground pound, when I can get some shots in there, and 10 seconds is quite a while for that to last, guys. So it is a lot of extra damage to add on to the secondary with everything else we got going on. So yeah, I feel like this is the best when it comes to fencing. And honestly, the fencing version of the Thunderhammer feels very, very strong right now. If you're somebody who has been on the blocking for a while and you really haven't went back to the fencing, it feels a lot better than it definitely did in the past. Okay, so this right here is going to be our blocking version build. And I didn't have the points right here, but as I was saying in the fencing, you're going to drop scrambled targeting and you're going to take duelist instead. You're going to want duelist because you're going to want that 25% extra window on your block. It's going to make blocking a lot easier. Definitely anybody who's not like used to using the blocking weapons, duelist will help out a lot. You do switch that up because it is going to help you out. But other than that, it's the same as the fencing when it comes to our block version right here. And then when we go up to our core here, we're going to make some changes in our core perks. We're going to go with overcharge because we're not going to have as many gun strikes as we will with our fencing, and 25% extra charge onto our blocking weapons is just an insane amount of damage. So with this right here, you can go auxiliary arsenal, or you could go with consecutive execution. That's really up to you. If you're going to use this a lot, then you can go with this one right here. But 20% onto your secondary is very nice. I personally recommend that one. And then we have knowledge of the enemy here, same as the other build. But here we are going to switch up to strategic strikes because we are going to have the 20% extra to extremist and terminus. And we just lack the gun strikes overall. So this is going to help us out a lot against extremists. And you really want to kill extremists fast because block weapons, that's one of their weaknesses, is the kind of extremist enemies that attack quickly. So this will help out a lot with that. And then we're still taking precision strike. You really don't need it much for the majors, but for the extremist and the terminus, it does add a lot of extra damage on there. So that is why I still prefer taking this. I take maneuverability, and then we have diligence, so those stay the same. And then I am dropping this because I'm not really concerned about, I still like my secondary to do a lot of damage. As you see, I'm still taking this, but I drop this off my fencing one and go with the AoE damage from my takeoffs. If you feel like you're not really taking off in groups a lot, then you could switch to this. But I felt like I got pretty good amount of damage done throughout the operation with Ascension here, so I do like to take that with my blocking version. So this is the block version right here, guys. And like I said before, anybody struggling with the blocking weapons, definitely go off. And just most people in general should take duelist over scramble targeting. It is going to help a lot with that 25% extra window there. When we're looking at the Thunderhammer itself, blocking or fencing, I am running this with the same exact specs on it. And the main things that help me through my playthroughs that I like to have is I like my Aftershock to have the reduced preparation time. I like the Ground Slam to have more area of effect. I use Ground Slam a lot throughout my operation. I'm basically going either single attack into Ground Slam, or I'm doing a Pummel Smash into Ground Slam. I'm using it, quite a bit. And then also I want to be able to hit 2 Ground Slams very, very strong with both weapons of the game. And then we got some melee damage here. And then as well as I like to have the double Aftershock. I'm not going to lie, you don't get to use this that often, so don't sit in there and try to use this all the time, but I just like to have it, and it does add extra damage onto your earlier swings. At least it used to. I don't think anything has changed about that. Aftershock, if you add that extra swing, it kind of like divvies up the damage between all your swings, and since you have another swing, it's more damage on the other ones. So, and then you have the minors, and then I'm really taking this minor so I can get up here to this majors one right here. And like I said, this is how I am speccing the hammer out on both fencing and blocking, and it feels nice against Tyranids, Chaos, both of the enemy types. I'm always running this this build right here. And when it is coming to our heavy bolt pistol here, I am setting it up in basically the max headshot version. You're going to grab 40% extra headshot damage, and then you are going to get that deduction, the 10% base damage, but we really do have a ton of base damage on the class right now as it is. So, you have 35% base damage added on just from your class perks. So, basically it's going to knock it down to 25%, which is still really nice. And then you are going to want to go with this increase the capacity of ammo. All the ammo you can really get is pretty nice on the gun in general, because you will expend a lot of ammo against anything in the air and things like that. So, and honestly, you could pair this up with anything that you think is best for best for you. For me personally, I would go heavy bolt pistol, and then I would also go plasma pistol sometimes on this build as well. And this is basically how I set my plasma pistol up with radius and max ammo on this one as well.
Infestation. Another alien force for the Imperium. Purification by strike. Jump back for you. The Imperium hammer rises to strike. That pitiful Xenos. The Xenos infestation is steady.